one of the lead lawyers in this matter, Benjamin Katana, to give us a brief on what has been happening on the legal front. I request that he be made a speaker. We will also thereafter hear from family members, affected family members, as well as individuals who have borne the brunt of being held in torture chambers without trial, but fortunately have been released, albeit with grave injuries to themselves. So may we have Benjamin Katana address us on the issue pertaining to the legal front, what has gone on there. And after we hear from the affected family members or individuals, we will open the space to the public. Over to you
If you
in
will
product.
permit,
Yes.
if I may ask, if I may request.
Yes, please go ahead.
Thank you very much, Andrew, for permitting my interjection. Just before the criminals interrupted our network, you had
Yes.
asked me to reiterate my answer since many people did not get to hear me. So,
Yes, please.
with your permission, I could use just a minute or two.
Perfectly. Please use 3.
Thank you very much. Well, just to reassert it that we are without a doubt in a reign of terror. Leave alone what has been happening under closed doors and in concealment, where so many people have been abducted, killed. But this, at least, the regime has had the decency to conceal it, and you can give it to General Museveni. But what we have is a fully blown out reign of terror, where General Museveni's son has absolute unchecked powers to abduct, torture, and kill people. This happened to the likes of Kakwenza and others. It happened to so many people that were personally tortured by Mohozi, but there was no, you know, acceptance by himself that he's the one who did it. But we are in a time where he tortures our people and brags. Case in point is the ongoing torture of Eddy Mutwe, who's abducted. We used to hear that Idi Amin and Obote regimes were gross human rights abusers, but this we are seeing in real time. As we speak right now, our brother could be undergoing torture if he's still alive. This is a situation that calls for the attention and action of every Ugandan. And man, I must conclude by saying that we are not approaching this matter as the National Unity Platform alone, but as human beings, as Ugandans, because every Ugandan is at risk of this. I thought I should make it very clear. Thank you very much, Andrew.
Very well. Very well said, Honorable Chagulanyi. Thank you for that update. I wonder whether Lewis might have anything to add in that respect to the articulate brief that the president has made before we hear from Benjamin Katana. I request the production team once again to make Benjamin Katana a speaker so that we can hear from what has been going on the legal front.
Yeah, Comrade Karamaji, I'm failing to identify Comrade Katana. If you could request, that would be really good. Thank you.
Okay, Benjamin, if you can hear, please push the request button and my colleague in production will help put you up. Is my co-host Dr. Judith Nalukwago here? If she is,
yes, I am here.
Great, good to have you. So, okay. Benjamin has requested, please allow him. Okay, go ahead, Benjamin. What has happened on the legal front? Have we exhausted all options? What's the state of play? Over to you, Mr. Katana.
Thank you very much, Andrew. Thank you very much, everyone who has joined this space, the solidarity space, with our brother Eddy Mutwe, who is in illegal detention. And probably undergoing a lot of torture, just like the pictures we have seen suggest. The starting point is that we are dealing with a government that has descended into a criminal enterprise, and therefore rule of law is a far cry. We have had court orders ignored. The other day, the Human Rights Commission issued a release order in respect to our detained brother Eddy Mutwe, but to date it has been ignored by the army, and particularly the Chief of Defense Forces, who has confessed as having him in his basement. Similarly, we have had so many court orders, habeas corpus orders, unconditional release orders ignored. Our approach has been that the only solution to oppression is resistance. And while I have been asked to speak as a lawyer, I would want to emphasize generally that this is not in respect to lawyers, but to everyone that is involved in this fight for the restoration of rule of law in our country. That 50 years ago, at the height of the operations of State Research Bureau and other agencies, Ugandans sat in different rooms to discuss how to resist and overcome a brutal and killer regime that the regime of the day had become. Today we are meeting here, and probably we should meet in several other places to make sure that we all put in effort to make sure that we bring an end to this brutal rule. So our approach has been to use the spaces available in courts of law and other agencies. In the case of Eddy Mutwe, we have filed a writ of habeas corpus. We are yet to get the order from court, just like we have filed for several other people. The Secretary General talked about the case of Masereka, but they talked about the case of the missing persons, talked about the various people who were abducted during the 2021 presidential elections, and several other Ugandans that have been illegally arrested, abducted, and detained since around 2019. Our approach has been to make sure that for every person whose information comes to our attention, we file applications in court for habeas corpus, for unconditional release, and things of that nature. Many times we have had cases drag on. Many times we have had cases not being fixed. Many times we have had court orders given and ignored, especially by the security forces, which is not strange considering the criminal enterprise that we are dealing with that the NRM government has become. My call to the people on this space is that we must organize. Those who are able to go to court like we are doing should go to court. Those who are able to organize in their different places of operation must organize, so that we build pressure, disempower the regime, so that it can give in to the demands of the people of Uganda. The courts of law we are doing, there are even efforts at international level. You remember the complaint we filed with the ICC and several others. So yes, the legal approaches, the approaches that are aimed at getting legal solutions are being undertaken, but these must be supplemented by political activism that will build the necessary pressure on the regime to even let the institutions like courts and Uganda Human Rights Commission and others that we have mentioned to be able to exercise their mandate under the Constitution to give orders, but even when these orders have been given, to give them life, because it's one thing to have orders from courts of law, it's another for these orders to be meaningful. What does it help if a person being detained, even when an order is issued, this person, the order is ignored, the person remains in detention, the family has no idea where this person is, and then you have a court order? It more or less becomes useless. So we must be able to build sufficient pressure from wherever we are standing, so that the regime can let these institutions be independent, exercise their mandate, when they issue orders, let these orders be respected so that the rights of the citizens of Uganda can be respected regardless of where they stand politically.
Great. We appreciate you, Benjamin, for that elaborate update. And I thank you also or I take note of you saying that this is beyond just a legal question. It is political. It requires the participation of citizens, even beyond what the laws and court processes come with. At this point, we'd like to put a human face to this discussion that we're having, and I will request in the following order, Shifra, who is with Eddy Mutwe's mother, to give her the mic so that she can share with us about the ordeal that the family is going through. We will then hear from Kavuma Jamshid, who is a previous victim of torture, who underwent very grisly a very grisly ordeal that was subjected to him. And then we'll hear from Judith, who's the wife to Damolira, who has been missing since 2020. We will also hear from Ajmaru, who is with the mother of Kasim Sebude, who was detained alongside Eddy Mutwe. So the first person we'd like to call and request our colleagues in production is Shifra, who is here. Please make Shifra a speaker so that we can hear from Eddy Mutwe's mother. And for the benefit of, do we have Shifra here?
Yeah, she's there. I'm trying to connect her, but...
Are you physically proximate with her? Are you where she is?
No, I'm not where she is. I'm trying to connect her account. But...
No, Shifra has requested to be a speaker, so they should just allow her. Shifra Rukundo. She has already requested to be a speaker.
Okay. There's thousands of requests, so I hope the production can sift through and find Shifra. As soon as that happens.
Okay, she is a speaker now.
Okay.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, Shifra. Yes.
I'm with Eddy Mutwe's mother, but she's requesting that she speaks in Luganda.
It's okay. Mama webale nnyo okujja. Webale nnyo okujja kulukungana luno. Tunyolwa wamu naawe era bw'olaba abantu abali ku lukungana buno bali mu nkumi na nkumi z'abantu abali mu Uganda ne mu nsi endala. Twagala okuwulira kiki kye muyiseemu nga family ya munnaffe mukulu Edward Ssebuufu era n'ekyoyagala Abannayuganda n'abalala batuuliza bategeere ebiruubirirwa byo ngeri gy'olaba embeera gye tulimu ffenna nga Bannayuganda naddala mmwe ab'enju ya Ssebuufu Eddy. Maama tukwaniriza, genda mu maaso.
Kale ssebo neyanzizza mwenna abali ku mukutu guno. Okuva Eddy bwe yakwatibwa 27 ewiikisi 2 ng'emabega nali ku kitanda nga ndi mulwadde era nga yanzijanjaba n'abaana bange abamu. Then nali naakamala okutereeramu katono ngenda okuwulira omwana wange omu nankubira essimu ekiro nambuuza maama oli bulungi? Nze ndi bulungi. Obulwadde buli butya? Nze waliwo eddagala lyenjagala lyessiina. Enkya tujja kujja tuligule. Yali agenda kumbuulira kulaba oba nina kyemmanyi. In fact nali siina kyemmanyi. Kati bwe nakeera ku makya ngenda okuteekako kiti ngenda okugenda ku Facebook nga ndaba Lumbu yayogera ngamba Eddy Mutwe yawambiddwa nga ndowooza oba bya bulimba. Nenziramu nensoma ngenda okubikula buli wamu omutima ne gunzigwamu. Nenkubira omwana wange nemugamba Martha wabadde oyagala kuŋŋamba bya Eddy? Naŋŋamba ye maama naye nadde saagala kutiisa nga njagala osooke weebaka okere ku makya otegeere nga pressure erinza okulinnya. In fact era yalinnya. Naye tusaba
omwami Muhoozi alina omwana wange, atuwa omwana waffe. Omwana waffe tumwagala. N'abalala bonna abasibiddwa abatalina musango. Tufune obwenkanya, at least kale amutwale mu kkooti bw'aba alina kye yakola oba omusango gwonna bamuvunaane, tumanye nti ali mu kkomera gindi tusobola omulabako. Naye tetumulabako, opositinze ali bwereere, tayambadde kumuswaza mu baana be, n'ensi yonna okumulaba nti Eddy Mutwe afaanana bw'atyo. Omusajja yali alabika obulungi. Era tusaba n'obuwombeefu bungi batuwa omwana waffe. Embeera gye tulimu si nnungi. Abaana jjukira mami dadi waabwe yabadde maama ye taata. Yanoonya ekyokulya. Nange nze kennyini mmaze ebbanga kati wiikisi ziringa 3 sikola. Era yabadde ambeererawo okusinga. Wekubira maama oli otya, maama kutiti, maama najja n'akulambula buli lwava okukola. Kati simulabako. Ne weebaka n'obuuza oba alidde oba talidde, oba bamukuba oba bakola ki. N'abaana tuli wano ffenna tunyolwa, buli mwana buli lwajja ewaffe n'obatunuulira nga bonna beeyunziseemu. Tebanange nga sirina kyabbagamba. Tunyolerwa wamu ffenna. Gavumenti tusaboota abaana baffe. Abazadde tukaaba. Sinze nzekka n'abalala waliwo abaafa, waliwo abatamanyiddwa gye bali, abalala bali mu kutulugunyizibwa, tebalina misango. Ensi erigamba etya abantu abo abaana baabwe. Abaana b'abantu bano bali kulaba atya ne babagamba nti omulembe guno gwe gwatta kitaawo oba gwe gwatulugunya taataawo oba gwe gwamuggyamu eriiso oba gwe gwamumenya emikono oba amagulu. Tuli tugamba tutya abaana. Era abaana bagenda kukula batya nga katulinawo wano abaana aba Eddy. Kale ngezezza ku bange. Batunula bawulira nga twogera bino bagamba ye omulembe guno gwe gukola gwe gwatulugunya taata waffe. N'abaana abalala bwe batyo. Ensi esaasira abantu. Tunyolwa, tukaaba. Bato omwana waffe.
Weebale nnyo mami okwogera n'obuvumu obwo. Era byogedde byonna wano tulaba nga abantu bakkaanya naawe. For the benefit of those who are not fluent or conversant with Luganda, there are 5 bullet points that Mr. Eddy Sebufu's mum has made, which is 1, she got the news as she was recovering from an illness and has been disturbed throughout. Her blood pressure shot up, and she's also imploring the authorities, specifically General Muhoozi Kainerugaba, who has openly confessed to detaining Mr. Sebufu in an ungazetted location, to have him arraigned in court if at all there is a charge for which there's any crime for which he is being held. She's also called that for all political detainees or prisoners to be released beyond just the fact of her son. She is distraught about the way in which he has been treated, the humiliating pictures that have been shared, the obvious mistreatment that he's been subjected to. She can't stop thinking about his situation and how he's doing, whether he's eaten, whether he's slept well, and all that. And finally, she notes with grave concern about how these children will grow up in a kind of world that is a complete opposite of what they've otherwise grown up to know. So next, we will hear from Kavuma Jamshid, who's also a previous victim, and I request production to have him up. And in the interest of time, as you make Kavuma Jamshid a speaker, also do that for Judith, Damlira's wife. Yes, and then Kasim Sebude's mother will also speak to us before we come to the rest of the audience. So I'm requesting our colleagues in the back room to give the mic to Kavuma Jamshid. Yes, he's requested. His handle is, I believe that's
At Jamshid Kavuma.
Yes.
I've sent him a request. I don't know whether he's seen it.
Jamshid Kavuma, please accept the request and speak to us. Okay, as Kavuma Jamshid does that, have you also sent a request to Judith?
She's not called Judith, but she's my neighbor, so I've sent the request. I think they'll get in. It's Mchala Damulira. The husband disappeared in 2020. Up to now, he's never been seen. He was abducted, and she's going to speak through the account of Kakande Chirumira.
Okay, Kakande Chirumira, yes, you have the...
So he's already on. I don't know whether I can start.
Yes, I can see Kakande Chirumira. I can also see Kavuma Jamshid. Let's hear from Kakande Chirumira, and then we will proceed to hear from Jamshid. Kakande, over to you. Feel free to use, as the previous speaker has, to use a language of your convenience. Go ahead, Kakande. Kakande, over to you.
Kakande, please unmute. I think he unmuted.
Okay, he has unmuted. Go ahead.
Okay, now you can speak.
Nange nsangiddwa n'obuzibu bw'okubanga abantu abo batuwambirwa abantu baffe batuwambira abantu baffe naffe tusangiddwa nga naffe tulina obulumi. Tusangiddwa nga tulina obulumi nga bw'owulya nti obulumi okutuwambiranga abantu baffe ate ne bamala ne babeegaana abantu baffe.
Nze mukyala Damulira nina obuzibu bwe nasanga okubaleba bwanga bbaawa.
Nyabo tukuwulira, genda mu maaso okutuyogera ku bawamba bbaawo.
Obuzibu bwange bwe nasanga okubaleba bawamba bbaawange Damulira John Esalaama mukyala wenze njogera naye empise mu bulumi obutajja kugamba nti yona kiri naye twebuuza abantu baffe bawambanga baaki naye ng'owamba omuntu.
Mama mukyala Damulira wali kinyonyodde kyekyaliyo bawe bamusanga bamutwala ddi n'ebirala.
Mukyala Damulira John bamujja wa Kisekka ku dduuka lye ne bamutwala 2022 emyaka 5 gigenda kuwera nga 21 Novemba. Omusajja okuva le bamutwala 2020
so si 2020.
Kati okuva le batwala Damulira ogwo omwaka gwe bamutwala mpaka olwaleero tetuddangamu kulaba Damulira. Tutuuse mu makooti ag'enjawulo mu makomera batugamba talabikako kyokka ate nga Museveni oyo gw'olaba yasoma Damulira n'agamba nti amuyina ate bwe yamala yamwegaana ate ne bamala ne bavunika fayiro zaffe butambuza tebatubulya amazima ge kiki ekituufu bakimanyi naye Museveni abantu baffe abatwala wa lwaki atubonyaabonya okutuuka ku kino? Musajja n'akuleka ddala otwala omuntu ng'omumanyi tinaye gw'otutte olawuza olumiza bameka olumiza famire omuntu omu oyo gwolaba yebadde empagi ya famire yonna abaana be maama we n'abalala n'embeera gye tuyitamu. Nze mukyala Damulira nina embeera gye mpitamu lwakuba nze nawulira nga sikyalina na bigambo byenjagala nakwogera kuba byanzigwako naye Museveni twakola ki? Abalala n'ogamba abantu 18 wabeegaana musajja gwe watambuza paka tobayina ate obayina ate sibayina tibiki kati tukole tutuukirewo okutuuka ku kino Makomera tebaliyo ate gwe abatwala abasirikale bwe batwala abantu bayite mutusase ne mutuwa abantu baffe naffe tuba mu nnaku eno niwe batuuka kubanga abaana bo bakusaba taata wammwe taata kati nafuuka maama ne taata lwaki mbeeramu eyo embeera bwe bumanyi kyempitamu naye olwokuba ofuluma mu nju ne bagamba nti ogenze naye nga nekyogenda okunoonya tokimanyi naye nga abaana bo abamu batudde waka tebasoma ate n'okunanga kyekyo kulwala bikoze bitya lwaki Museveni otubonyaabonya lwaki totuwa abantu baffe musajja gwe tukwegayiridde tukaabye biweddeyo nagasangula naye ngajjako sikyalina gansangula okuleka gwe ng'okutte ku makya n'ogamba mukazi gwe nkwadde abantu maama w'omusajja oyo Damulira yalekeraawo okwogera ayogera ekintu kimu omwana wange omwana lwaki omukuntusa kweyo embeera nawe gwe musajja gwe tozaalanga toyina abantu toyina bazzukulu kiki otubonyaabonya okutuuka ku mbeera bweki musajja gwe Museveni tuyambe tuwa abantu baffe naye ng'okimanyi wafukamira ku makya nga maama wakuzaala nakuteeka ebweru kiki kyetwakola ekyo tusaasira abaana bo ne bakoma ne bakulisaayo kyokka nga bakulisaayo nakava tekalimu yadde emitwalo ekintu kyesiringi omutwalo ebintu obotaddemu omugaati naye gwe musajja gwe tusaasire tukwegayiridde buno obulumi kubanga tulinga abazaala essaawa zino abali mu makomera bate n'abawambibwa bajjeeyo ate era nkwegayiridde abatalina musango batubajje mu makomera baleete mu kkooti bawozebwe naye nga mukazi wa ddala ddala yasindika abaana bakuze ne taata naye gwe oyina eddala ddala ekisa musajja gwe kitotusaasira tuyita mu bulumi lwakuba totumanyi bwe tuli bubi kubanga sigwe Katonda Katonda yateekawo abantu babiri n'agamba nti kibaawukanya kuba kufa naye ate gwe watwawukanya sigwe Katonda tetwajja kutweba nti gwogere twawukanya kuba tutwagattibwa nga tumanyi nti munnange agenze naye n'amala lugambula nina balaga ki n'amala lusigalina nange bwe nalindaga nti gati wonna mutambuddewo nange nti okunteekawo obumu tulwala tumunyabonyezebwa oye bannange Museveni nkwegayidde taata tuwa abantu baffe tusaba abali mu makomera munnange bate kale bo babalabako naye nabo bate bajje bawozibwe neefe abaabuzibwawo emyaka 5 ddala omuntu wa munno
maama tunyolwa wamu naawe n'abaana bo olw'okubuzibwawo okwa baawo mwami Damulira John era ndowooza abantu bonna bawulidde era tusuubira ne buno obubaka bujja kutuuka kwabo bekikwatako. Again, for the benefit of those who might not comprehend Luganda, this is John Damulira's wife. As you can probably tell, she is disconsolate and she has talked about the situation in which she's going through, including the fact that she is completely, going through indescribable heartache. She has to play the role of mother and father because her husband has been missing for close to 5 years now, having been picked up from his shop in Kampala and has never been seen again. She doesn't know anymore what to say or what answers to give to her children when they ask about their father. She's also said, rather concerningly, that one of her children has been affected by the withdrawal syndrome. That child only speaks a word or two and that's it, and does not talk. This withdrawal having been brought on by the disappearance of the father for close to 5 years now. Next, we have Kavuma Jamshid to share his personal experience as an abductee who was fortunate enough to make it out alive from the dungeons of the torture chambers, such as where Eddy Mutwe is being held. Jamshid, if you are here, please accept the mic and share with us. Jamshid Kavuma. Okay, go ahead. I see you. Please share. And like the others, feel free to speak in a language of your convenience.
Okay. Bannange bw'oba oba mumpulira
Ssebo tukuwulira genda mu maaso tukulira bulungi nnyo.
Tukuwulira ssebo.
Genda mu maaso ssebo tukuwulira.
netiwaaka entawaanya bannange neyanziza omukisa guno okunteekako wano sijja kwogera luzungu kuba erinnya linnuma yinza okugira so kanjogere mu luganda lwentegeera.
Oh dear. We have challenge with Jamshid because he keeps coming on and going off. So I will line up as we wait for him to sort that glitch out. I will now ask Ajmaru, who is with the mother of Kasim Sepude, who was arrested alongside Eddy Mutwe. So Ajmaru, if you are here, to my co-host, Dr. Nalukwago, do you...
I've tried to look for his hand, or I can't see it.
Okay, in that case...
I've looked for Jamal's hand, I can't see it. So I think probably if he's on, he can send a request, then I let him speak.
Ajmaru, if you are here, please send a request to speak and you will be allowed to do so. Okay, while we wait for Ajmaru to share, because those two will be the last people to speak before we hear from the audience, members of the audience. And as we get ready to do that, production is already... okay, Kavuma, you are here? Katusaba oyitemu bwangu otuuse obubaka.
Ennaku
Oh dear. Okay. For Jamshid, just so that his story is not lost in the weeds of this network challenge, I will request Benjamin, if he's still here, to share Jamshid's ordeal in a minute, so that we afford him the audience that he deserves, and then we will open the floor to the audience to share. Benjamin, if you may.
he seems muted.
Yeah, Benjamin, if you're speaking, you are muted.
Yes.
Please.
Yes, Andrew.
Yeah, we have Jamshid is having network connection issues. So as counsel, who I'm sure have handled this file amongst the numerous others that you've handled, you could give us a brief on Jamshid's ordeal. Thank you.
Yeah. Jamshid was brutally arrested and in fact shot in the leg at the time of arrest. He was held incommunicado for a number of days. Jamshid was brutally arrested and in fact shot in the leg at the time of arrest. He was held incommunicado at the time of arrest, and we applied for habeas corpus, but when the state was served, they produced him in court and charged him with malicious damage to the vehicle that the security personnel who came to arrest him were moving in. And the question, of course, was before the arrest, which offense had he committed? Because the offense with which he was charged, the allegation was that he committed it at the time they were trying to arrest him. Eventually, they did not pursue the case like it has been with the rest. And to give this proper context is that most of our people, most of our colleagues have been arrested on trumped-up charges. They are held for a number of days, eventually produced in court sometimes, and when they get bail, the matter never comes up for trial. 2 years down the road, 3 years down the road. Why? Because the state has no evidence and they are just holding them on trumped-up charges, basically for purposes of persecuting them. And Kavuma Jamshid's case is one of such cases of fabricated charges.
Sure. Thank you so much for that brief. Were we able to get the final speaker on the panel so that he can share as well? Kasim Sebud's mother, who is with Ajmaru. If you are here, please either request and then we can hear from you and move to the audience. We will select speakers, but before we do that, please note that you have exactly a minute. We have, yes, please, my colleague in production, go ahead.
No,
I
have we
cannot
opened?
see Ajmal's.
Yes, the producer, what?
Oh, sorry, I was just saying I cannot see the. Oh, I was saying I cannot see the hand. Also, I think we can go to the audience because I can't find the hand of Ajmal. I failed to get it, and he's also not sending a request to communicate
Okay.
with him.
Okay, this space has 7,507 people right now. My colleague, my co-host, will choose speakers from the audience, and I invite her to do so. But before that, I see a hand from our colleague in the back room. You have something to say?
No, you've opened up to the public, so I had a couple of questions. I don't know if I can go first for the 1 minute.
Or that were written to you, or your own questions?
My own questions.
Okay, great. Since you are in production, we will hear from you. Let's first have the rest of the audience share, and then we will come to you in production. I hope that's fine. Okay. Dr. Judith
Yes,
Nalukwago, please choose speakers. Sasi, you're saying something?
yeah. I was saying I'm seeing Jamshid back online. I know he has just disappeared, but he had briefly returned online. I also wanted to supplement on what Council Katana was saying earlier. Jamshid, for many who don't know, was actually at the scene when they were abducting Eddy last Sunday, and he was. I thought he was going to come and give us a brief of what transpired that fateful evening. He might have given us a description of some of the faces that he saw, and one of those faces is a bulky gentleman. No offense meant. Is one of the bulky gentlemen that keeps following our president everywhere he goes, at home, at the headquarters in Kavule, and literally everywhere. So it's quite unfortunate that Jamshid is not here, but let me see if I can reach out to him. See what the issue is.
Actually, if it helps, I was just talking to Jamshid a while ago, and I could call him and ask him to speak through my phone, so he can be able to communicate with the rest of the masses here.
Sure, please.
Okay, allow me just a minute.
Okay, as Dr. Nalukwago lines up her choice of speakers,